am driven to make wellness a priority in trucking. I am a driver. I'm a new driver. I haven't been driving that long. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I want to continue to drive because it ain't for everybody. I was literally living out on the road in my truck. And at first it was all good, you know, but then I just tearing on me. However, I do realize that Spirit sent me out on a mission. It wasn't just about driving trucks. You know, it wasn't just about a job or making money.
Right.
It was about learning that trucking is a subculture. Right. And within that culture, wellness is being pushed way to the back of the trailer. Not to the back seat, but way to the drivers are putting the hustle over their health. I'm pushing a health over hustle trucker culture.
Okay.
A lot of drivers are putting the hustle over the health. And I know it's because men are geared and programmed to be the providers. So in this industry, I'm not speaking for everybody or whatever, but in this industry, men are programmed to a whole nother level. It's almost like it becomes a robotic, like I'm getting this money and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to witness and observe that it is making a negative impact on a lot of drivers. So that's kind of my mission, is just to, I don't know, expose the industry, because people just see the big old trucks. They just see us in those trucks. They are not necessarily aware of the human, as the industry is kind of pivoting.
Right.
The industry as a whole is pivoting. And I think this is a perfect time to, I don't know, just let people know that we are humans driving these trucks, and we're making a sacrifice. Without the trucking industry, the world ain't gonna move the same.
Right.
Without the drivers, rather.
Right.
You know? Peace, love. Yeah. This is Wild Truckin'. Trucker talk, trucker thoughts, and trucker stories. The good, the bad, and the gory. It is sponsored by Truckin That Ass through this abundance of zigs and zags. Miles, states, experiences, tears, and laughs. I am True 5-Star, your host. Listen, as we prepare to travel through these conversation highways and byways, please tap all the way in and tune into my special guest, a 5-star driver who has agreed to sit down with us for a few minutes. Listen, we know drivers are busy. So for him to take a few minutes just to have a conversation and give us his insight on this trucking industry and this lifestyle, I appreciate it. So my first thing is, I like to know, do you have like a CB handle that you go by? Who are you, driver? Tell us.
Yeah, call me KD Truck Trappin.
Okay, wait, say it again.
KD Truck Trappin.
Okay. Oh, I like it. You said truck trapping?
Yes, truck trapping.
All right, let's go.
Trapping out the truck.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, I like that. Now listen, what are you rolling in first? Let's get this stuff out of the way first. I like to know, what are you pushing? What kind of truck you driving?
Oh, I'm pushing a 2016 Freightliner Cascadia.
Freightliner.
10-speed automatic. I could drive a 10-speed stick, but I prefer automatic because that's the way it's going anyway. Fully automatic anyway.
Okay, I like to ask that too, because you know some of the drivers got those big stick shifts in the middle. I don't get it, but I think it's a masculine, it's a man thing. I don't know. I haven't seen a woman doing it yet. I don't get it. Anyway, I digress. So we got your handle out of the way. We got what you driving, what you pushing. How long you been in the game?
I've been in the game 6 years.
6 years. That's a decent amount of time. Yeah. That's long enough to have seen some things transpire within the industry.
Most definitely.
Yes. Yeah. What led to trucking for you? What led to this as a career?
My father, my dad, he influenced me. He definitely was a truck driver. He, started off as a company worker, and eventually he took off and got his own authority, got his own tractor, and started, pulling a trailer. He was
Okay.
with the tanker and hazmat division, but he definitely influenced me though.
Oh, okay. It's interesting because I've heard that story a lot. You know, um, my pops was a driver too. That's what makes me interested in the whole CB thing too, because this was like back in the 70s. I remember him on the CB doing all that fancy talk, the breaker 19, what's your 20 and all that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So it seems like an art that's fading out though. The whole CB thing, whole CB talk is an art that's fading out. So I'm glad to hear that is like where your inspiration came from your father. Tell me this, do you feel like trucking is a culture?
Yes, yes,
It's
I
a
do.
culture. Good. I'm glad you agree. Nobody has disagreed yet. I just from driving the short time I was out there, I recognized this is a whole subculture. Like
Yes,
if you're not in trucking, you're not going to truck stops. You're not going behind these companies to their dock. Like it's a whole
right,
subculture,
right.
right? In the 6 years you've been out there, have you noticed that it has taken a toll on your health in any kind of way, whether it's your mental health, your health with your relationships? Uh, let me see, you have a daughter. That's you,
Yes,
right? That
yes,
beautiful young lady.
yes.
She's beautiful. Has it
Thank you.
taken a toll? Has it taken a toll on your overall?
Yes. I mean, because of my own personal goals, yes.
Okay.
She's so young though that I could kind of get by with it, you know,
Okay.
being able to stay out for a little bit and come back in or whatever like this and still be able to talk to and communicate via, over the phone. Um, but like I said, she just so young. So she, still trying to learn, life in general anyway. But
Yes.
just
Yes. So are you an over the road or company driver?
I drive over the road as a company driver, yes.
Over the road as I'm sorry, that was the wrong question. Owner operator or company driver?
Yes, I drive over the
You're
road.
you're a company driver
Yes,
over the road.
yes.
So you're out like how long at a time? Because some drivers are like months at a time and stuff. Are you doing that?
Nah, nah.
Okay.
I ain't trying to, and I commend these drivers that's doing that because, like you say, the economy moving in all type of ways, and us drivers being out here on the road in America, that's just one way, and that's one of the big mainstream ways too. So I commend any driver that's doing it like that, but I'm not doing it like that because, like I said, I got my daughter, and for me, my personal goals and values for myself, it differs from the next individual.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear you say that because I've heard all types of stories as far as, you know, people being out for long periods of time and it having a really negative effect. Like men have told me they missed their whole child's upbringing being
Dang,
out on the road. Birthdays, holidays, to the point where the child gets a certain age and it's like, you're not my daddy. I don't even know you.
dang.
Because they've been out of balance with, the choice of putting
Work, yeah,
putting the hustle over everything,
right, right, right.
and I get it. It becomes that kind of I don't know, programming or whatever. We were talking a little bit before we got started. It definitely takes an effect if you're not careful, if you get out of balance with it. It can take a negative take you in a negative direction away from your family if you're not careful.
Right.
So, in the 6 years that you've been driving, what have you witnessed as far as the industry taking a turn? Like right now, the industry is taking a turn as far as like prices, the economy, but also um with AI stepping in, like they're trying to make it, you know, where trucks don't need drivers, basically.
Right, right, right.
What do you think about that?
You know, I just think that, you know, it's some things that, you know, you could just pitch your 2 cents in, you know. Um, they definitely making, you know, semi trucks that's, you know what I'm saying, driving, you know, by themselves for control with a controller, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The electronic vehicles and, you know, but one thing I think is over the next, you know, quarter of a century, you know, to 50 years, I believe that, you know, truck driving is still gonna be going strong.
Okay.
I got faith in that.
Okay.
It's just the economy with the trucking industry. Yes, you're right. Everything has came to a good turn, and you know people are really wondering why it's going the course in the direction that it's going. Although I just say that for myself, you know, I try to tap in and pay attention and everything and understand what's going on. Overall, I feel like, you know, mental health awareness, I feel like that's a really good thing to tap into in the midst of, like you said, everybody, you know, going with the hustle and bustle of, you know, trying to move these loads and, you know, going crazy. Cause now the accident rates are up too in these big trucks, you know, and it's just a stressor, you know, whenever the government and the United States of America is going through things and you know the trucking industry might not be like it was or just you know the nation flow might not be you know right and ideal for the average consumer in America and everything. I think people tend to add more stress, just like in 2020 when the recent pandemic first became about, all the way up until this point with everything that's going on now. And referring back to the trucking industry, you know, it's starting to hit us now because, you know, like I said, it's an increase in accidents. And now versus back when in 2020 when the pandemic first started, you know, through 2021, you know, then all of a sudden in 2022, you know, when all of these, you know, ships and boats and, you know, everything getting stuck out there on the water and, you know, and it might have been,
Mm,
that might have even started in late 2021 on the cool, but it started backfiring for real as of 2022. You
mhm.
have, you know, just the whole pandemic just in general. And, you know, it's just making a lot of people just, you know, go into mental phases that they normally
Yes,
wouldn't be in the course of their life,
yes.
you
Talk
know,
about it, driver. Talk about it. Yeah.
you know. And I just think that, you know, whether it's that you stand out for 2 weeks, whether you know, driving local and you going home every night, or whether you know, driving over the road, OTR, and you stand out 3 months or 6 months, you up in this truck and you know you moving these loads and you parking at these truck stops at these shippers and receivers on the side of the road, exit ramps, entrance ramps, you know, and you know all these different places that you could be. I just feel like every time you get out that truck and get back in this truck, you have to have some type of form of like coping ability and coping tools to use for your mental health,
Yes.
because you could drive yourself crazy in this truck or in
Yes.
some type of phase or psychomanic phase or
Yes.
whatever it may be,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that could backfire. That could
Yes.
backfire on you, the company, your family, everybody,
Yes.
whomever you surrounded by. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I have to say to that. Whether you know driving local and you going home every night, or whether you know driving over the road OTR and you stand out 3 months or 6 months, you up in this truck and you know you moving these loads and you parking at these truck stops at these shippers and receivers on the side of the road, exit ramps, entrance ramps, you know, and you know all these different places that you could be. I just feel like every time you get out that truck and get back in this truck, you have to have some type of form of like coping ability and coping tools to use for your mental health.
Yeah.
Because you could drive yourself crazy in this truck or in
Yeah.
some type of phase or psychomanic phase or
Yes.
whatever it may be.
Yes.
And that could backfire. That could backfire on
Yes.
you, the company, your family, everybody, whomever you're surrounded by. So yeah, that's what I have to say to that.
Oh man, that was a good share. Let me address this. Drivers, if you can, don't park on the exit. If anything, park on the entry to the highway. You know, I was taught that, and it made sense when the person broke it down for me. You know, even if you have to get off that exit, go around, and then, you know, come back in that way and park, you know, as you're entering the highway, do that. It's just safer. But anyway, that stuck out because somebody taught me that, and I made it a rule. When I get, you know, like if I can't park, you know, a lot of times we can't find nowhere to park. Depending on what time you pull over to reset.
Depending on the scenario, the situation. I might run this last minute before that last minute violation is about to kick in. I'll be like, you know what, that's my interest round, you know. But yeah, I feel you though, you're right.
Yeah.
And just to expand and expound on that, and that's mainly because on the exit route, people still flying, even though it's an exit. You know, on the entrance ramp, you got to build those speeds. So, and at the end of the day, accidents do happen. All right.
Yeah. But that's exactly how the person broke it down to me. But I also like that you said when you're getting in and out of these trucks, have some sort of mental health. I like to call them rituals. People get spooked out by that word, but if you look up the meaning of the word, you won't be spooked out. Have your rituals, you know, that you do. Like I made it a point to be, you know, that I had made it to where I was going. Be thankful for the experience while I was operating the truck. Even though I was sometimes in and out of that traffic, Thanksgiving got under my skin. How have you dealt with road rage?
It just, for me personally, I've dealt with that, which I never really had a bad case of that. Although I have had a bad case of just, you know, cursing like 20 people out a day in the truck. You know, but road rage.
That's what I'm talking about. I was in there turning into somebody else.
Oh well, I was thinking it was like you, because I be seeing drivers now. They'll be like all of, you know.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Right. But like as far as like cursing people out in the truck, oh yeah. Yeah, I've had to learn how to and that just comes, well, I'm not going to even say it come with experience, because that's just the person anyway. It don't matter how old or young you are.
That's true.
But for me, it just came with just a little wisdom of an 18-wheeler, and you just have to know all the things that can happen, the cutouts, the brake checks, you know, the traffics, the weird, crazy accidents and incidents. You just have to know, and that'll calm me. That calmed me down a lot with the cussing people out. Now I just cuss like 3 people out a day. Nah.
So you went from like 10 to like 3.
Yeah.
Listen, I found myself getting real like agitated because you know why? For me, it was the danger. Like, so you don't care nothing about what I'm doing here. You gonna squeeze your little car
in front of me like I could just slam on brakes.
You know, it's like no respect or reverence for what we're pushing with all those thousands of pounds. That would get under my skin a lot. And a driver told me, just let him have it.
Right.
Just let him have it.
Yeah, because we worry about controlling this, you know, whatever this 75 or this 60 on our back, whatever it may be. You know, we worry about trying to control that, so we can't fight that and that, you know, it's just too much. You know, you got to
It's too
save your
much.
energy, your mental health. You don't want to drive yourself nuts.
Yes,
You know?
yes. You know, something else I found pivotal living on the truck for that time was organization.
In which
That's
way?
funny.
In
That's
which way
funny.
yourself? I mean, because I'm gonna say this, you know, they say birds together fly. When you speak about the organization, what you were referring to in the truck?
I'm saying as far as your truck, like living condition, you know, keeping your truck organized is imperative. I found that to be, I'm an organized person anyway. I grew into that. I wasn't always this way. So I don't want to front like I was. But now I'm a woman of a certain age and I have grown into wisdom in certain areas of my life. I've applied wisdom to different areas of my life. And I was already organized before I came out there. But I did see where, wow, if somebody's not organized, I know they live in all kind of ways in that bunk.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm not judging nobody because I don't sit in a judgment seat. I can't afford to be judging nobody. I'm too busy working on me. However, I do wonder sometimes if that adds to the mental state of some of the drivers. How are you organized in there? Are you staying organized, Mr. Truck Trappin?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to show us. That's up to you. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
No, I'm pretty organized. Everything intact. I just finished detailing last night though. You know? Yeah, I just finished detailing last night. Wiped everything down, flow.
Now you can show us if you want to. If you want to show off,
I'm real humble. I ain't trying to show off, but yeah, I'm cool. I'm clean. You know. I believe in being sanitary and organized. You know.
But you can bear witness to what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure you've seen some drivers or smelled some drivers.
Right. Caveman up in there.
Listen, I've been at a fuel pump and was like, what the hell? What the hell? And I looked and I thought a mule was next to me. And I'm not just trying to be funny. I'm being honest. When you get to that point in your mindset that that's okay, that you feel like that, you know, you're totally oblivious now to your and what I've witnessed is, and that could be a thing before they even got on the truck. I don't know, but I'm talking about trucker culture. What I've witnessed is it taking an effect on the psyche of drivers, not just hygiene, even mental health as far as socialization.
Could have been a case where maybe before he was a driver or something, he always been like that. And then it could be a case where he just sitting up there living just in depression, you know, because everybody go through depression, whether you want to, you know, whether they want to admit it or not, you know, but you know, and you know, so I agree with the men. I understand, like I could imagine like what angle you coming at when you say, you know, according to how people live and, you know, and you know me, I'm like, I like have studied psychology. I have read mental health awareness books. I'm like really tuned into it. I'm really like on the verge of being a mental health awareness advocate, you know. I might be a mental health awareness counselor, you know, one day in my journey.
You should. It's needed.
And if you know any counselors or therapists out there, according to the mental health, that's really like a question that they'll ask you in the standard opening of a meeting. Is you know, are you wanting to harm somebody or harm yourself? Have you been showering and eating? You know what I'm saying? They want to know these things. So I understand where you're going with that, you know?
Yes, and I am a counselor. My background is mental health and psychology, right?
Okay.
And I think that heightened my observation while I was out there. you know,
Right.
and you're
Right.
absolutely correct. I'm positive that some drivers took these issues out on the road with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one category. Then there's another category that developed issues while they were out there. Because, like you stated earlier, you know, if you're not keeping a check on yourself, getting in and out of that truck, starting to live that lifestyle, you can slip into a whole nother part of your psyche that you didn't even know existed. You didn't even know existed. You didn't see it coming. And
Right.
I'm speaking from personal.
Right.
And
And
I like
and I
you
can
have
relate.
studied, huh?
And I can relate, you know. So
I have studied as well. So I, like you, have studied those things, right? But you still have to keep a check on your own psyche because we're
oh
human.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how good you are or wealthy or anything. It's
Right.
not just that person that you see that's with a sign that's, you know, up under the freeway or
Come on
interstate
now.
or bridge. You know what I'm saying? It could be, you know, the president of whatever
Yes.
nation. It could
Yes.
be any pastor of any church. No, it
Yes.
could be any truck driver.
Yes.
So any
Yes.
shipper or receiver, you know, basketball player, football player.
Right.
So, you know,
Nobody's exempt
nobody is
from
exempt. Like counseling is,
the
you
thin
know,
line of sanity and insanity. So my focus though now is the fact that those intricate things, if we don't keep a close eye on ourselves and care for ourselves in a certain way, then we find ourselves slipping into those dark places and spaces. Now, where it becomes dangerous is when you're taking those behaviors in that depressed state. I have a tagline that says, trucking can stretch you to stress. Right? So
Okay.
then you're taking that behind the wheel with you.
Right.
And out into traffic, into
Right.
the world, you know, and that's dangerous within itself. But even smaller than that, my concern is the individuals. You know, there are many of drivers out there that I see the blank behind the eyes, like, you know, oh, you lost yourself in this thing.
Right.
And I feel like Spirit led me out there to have the experience for myself. I never saw this coming for me. So I know I'm sure, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the mission is Spirit led. I was at a desk for years, you know, or in the field of social services before that, out in the field for years. I didn't plan on becoming a truck driver, but God had something for me to do. And in paying my dues, I found myself in that truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And facing myself on a level that, like you said, you know, you've read books and you've studied some psychology and things of that nature, that gives you a certain insight to yourself where you can hold on a little differently than someone who has no knowledge of the mind, the psyche, right?
The detriment they doing to themselves.
Right.
Because once you become knowledgeable of it, then you help yourself.
Listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your conversation. And before we go, this is Wild Truckin'. Trucker talk, trucker thoughts, and trucker stories. The good, the bad, and the gory. And I say gory because I've heard some gory stories from drivers. I do like to hear a story from a driver, though, because we see some things and experience some things, and it can be a good story, bad story, gory story, but please unload a story with us, something you like to share. Yes, a trucker story.
For all the drivers, that all the new drivers, when they send y'all up to the Northeast,
Ooh,
when they
talk
send y'all up
about
to
it.
the when they send y'all up to the Northeast in America, that's like New York area and all of that up there,
I've been
Pennsylvania and
there.
all that.
I've been
Don't
there.
don't trust don't trust your Google Maps in no 18 wheeler and no semi truck.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, listen. That's a mistake.
Hey, my first time I went up there to New York, I was trying to get through New York. And
Okay.
I wasn't on 95. I was coming from another direction. But by the
Okay.
time I made it to New York City and all of that, man, I ended up in New York City or the new, what is it? New
New
I,
Brunswick?
new who?
New Brunswick?
New Brunswick. No, not New Brunswick.
New
I don't want to.
Jersey?
Nah, not New Jersey. Not down
Oh,
there. I was like up. I was up in the area where, and I don't know why I can't think of this little city name right now, but I'll think about it later and be like, dang. But I was up in there for like an hour and a half trying to get out. I was to the point where I couldn't trust Google Maps at the time. I couldn't use my own little knowledge trying to, sniff the street side and stuff, because everywhere I look, it was either a bridge or some clearance that was too low, that was less
ooh,
than 13.6, or
ooh.
it was some express parkways or streets
Oh,
that said only passenger vehicles only, and it
oh
just seemed
my
like I kept
God.
going in circles and circles, and
Oh,
every time I get out the circle, I go into another circle and just kept going in circle and circle. Big headache. Then I finally got in
listen.
touch with one of my friends who was a driver, and he said, "Man, right now where you at, download this app called Truck Book." And Truck
Oh,
Book is
I
a
never
is a
heard of that one.
oh really?
No,
Truck Book,
truck
Truck
book.
Book, yes, Truck Book is an app for truck drivers, and it got a big B on it. It's a navy blue background, and I think
Okay,
the B is white. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? I got it on my app right now. But yeah, Truck Book,
Wow.
when you put it up, when you open your Truck Book, before you even put a destination, it has the clearance heights, railroad tracks. It you know how truck you know about truck pal,
Yeah,
how
I
they
know
got all the
truck
truck
pass.
stops, how they got all
Yes,
truck stops, etc.
yes.
Well, Truck Book have all what I just said, the clearance, low
Okay.
overweight bridges, um, certain gross weight vehicle weights for crossing over bridges, and all of those type of things. And then when you actually put your GPS, you start your navigation for your destination along that route that you're going, it'll have the truck stops. You know what I'm saying? Listed. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Truck
Ain't
Book
that
cool.
I could have used that a couple times while I was out there, bruh. Some of them back roads,
Right.
I was on because I was Southeast regional. So I was on like those back roads in Georgia and South Carolina. Some of
Man.
those back roads that they don't have a sign that the truck stop is coming up. You just
Right. Right.
ride and you like, damn, that was a truck. You know what I
Right.
mean? You ever been on one
Right.
of them roads?
Oh yes, one of them roles where you just say a prayer like, Lord, I just hope I don't lose my signal. GPS, please stay on.
Lord,
GPS, please.
please.
You could lose the signal, but GPS just please stay on.
Yes, yes. So you know what that's like. Listen, you just gave me some intel because I haven't heard of that one. Truck book,
Right. Yes, Truck Book.
truck book. I'm gonna
Truck
remember
Book.
that. I'm gonna make a note of that. I appreciate it.
Easy spelling. Spell it just like truck and just like a book you reading, but you put it together. Truck Book.
Okay. Well,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I appreciate you. And you say you out there truck trapping,
KD Truck Trappin. Yep.
Katie truck trapping.
Trapping out the
Listen,
truck. The
trapping out
legit
the
way.
truck.
The
I
legit
like
way.
it. I appreciate you. And I like to say to the drivers, may the road always rise to meet your tires, and may you continue to be surrounded by divine guides,
Thank you.
mile after wonderful mile,
Thank you. I
and
received that.
ride in peace. And remember, health over hustle.
Got you.
Health over hustle trucker culture, right?
Got you. Health over hustle.
Yeah, health over hustle. I
Got you.
appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the flip side.
I got you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Thank you. Peace, driver.